Today we're talking about off-road camping trailers. A buddy of mine bought one thinking it was trail ready, but a few trips in, the suspension struggled on rough tracks. The build quality started showing cracks, and the weight made towing harder than it ever needed to be. Because here's the thing, most reviews focus on features and aesthetics, not what actually matters once you're hours from pavement. So today, I'm breaking down the off-road camping trailers that get the fundamentals right. Proper suspension, solid construction, and smart weight. Let's go. The Campinawe sits in this interesting spot where it's not trying to be something it's not, and that's refreshing. It's an entry-level trailer that knows most people aren't rock crawling every weekend. They're just trying to get away without breaking the bank. The torsion axle handles gravel roads and Forest Service trails fine, but push it into washboard or deep ruts and you'll feel every bump. What it does well is live with you. That queen bed layout and full kitchen mean you're not constantly compromising on comfort, and the all-season insulation actually works if you run the furnace. Dry weight hovers around 2,000 pounds, so mid-size SUVs pull it without drama. But there's a trade-off. The build stays light by using thinner materials, and over time, cabinet latches and seals start to show wear faster than you'd like. It's priced at $15,000 to $18,000 base, climbing past $22,000 with solar and better tires, which still undercuts a lot of competitors. If your trips are mostly established campgrounds with the occasional dirt access road, this makes sense. The Backroads Trail Series is where you start to feel the difference between off-road capable and actually designed for it. That Cruisemaster XD coil suspension soaks up washboard and rock ledges in a way that keeps the trailer tracking behind you instead of bouncing around like it's got a mind of its own. At around 3,000 pounds dry, it's heavier than the ultralight crowd, but that weight sits low, and the 200-pound tongue weight means it doesn't push your truck around on descents, especially with the Red Arc brake controller dialed in. Inside, it's spacious without feeling overbuilt. Good lighting, airflow from the Max Air fan, storage that actually makes sense. Still, it's a newer model, so there's no 10-year track record on how the seals hold up in dust, or whether the warranty comes through when things go sideways. Starting in the mid-$60,000 range, it's not cheap. It's for people who've outgrown entry-level rigs and want something that won't make them second-guess every trail choice. The Kingdom Camping Adventure Pro Mini 2.0 is what happens when someone actually listens to what overlanders complain about and builds around those pain points. The Cruisemaster XT suspension with 30 inches of clearance handles rough terrain without drama, and the 4-season insulation means you're not running the Dometic AC or furnace constantly just to stay comfortable, which matters a lot off-grid. At 2,300 pounds loaded, it's not light, and you'll need something with real towing capacity like a Tacoma or better. But that weight comes from actual build quality, not just feature bloat. The Red Arc battery system and 200-watt solar setup are standard, which is rare at this price point. What I appreciate is the 360-degree camera system and LED lighting, small details that show they've thought about how you actually use this thing at night in unfamiliar terrain. The catch is it's direct sale only, so no dealer network if something breaks, and options can push the base $25,000 to $30,000 price closer to $35,000. Still, for the component quality, it's hard to argue with the value. The ECNO Evil Unit 1 is for people who don't want a camper, they want a shell they can't break. At 780 pounds dry, it tows like it's barely there, and the Timbren axle-less suspension articulates over obstacles without the complexity of traditional springs that need maintenance or replacement. The entire body is one-piece HDPE, the same stuff they make kayaks from, and I've seen demo videos where they beat it with mallets and slam 2x4s into it without leaving a dent. No wood to rot, no aluminum panels to crack at the seams. It's honest about what it is. A lockable pod with a mattress, roof vent, LEDs, and not much else. You bring your own kitchen, your own water system, your own gear. For some people that's a deal breaker, but for others it's exactly the point. The Timbren setup keeps it simple and low to the ground, which helps stability on technical trails, though you do feel every bump without the cushion heavier trailers provide. Starting at $13,990 for the 4x8 and $16,490 for the 5x8, it's priced like a tool, not a luxury. 2-week lead time, no frills, no apologies. The EdgeOut RV is another rotomolded shell like the ECNO, but where that one strips everything down, this one actually feels livable. It's built in South Africa using seamless LLD-PE construction, which means no seams to leak, no panels to separate when you're getting hammered by corrugations. At 1,650 pounds tear with only 165 pounds on the tongue, it tows effortlessly behind most SUVs, and the torsion bar suspension keeps it stable without feeling harsh. What sets it apart is the rear kitchen pod. 2-burner stove, 110-liter water tank with a 12-volt pump, even a small geyser and basin. It's compact but functional. Inside, you get a queen mattress, LEDs, USB, and 220-volt outlets, solar-ready charging, and enough storage that you're not living out of bags. The catch is it's still a teardrop, so if you're over 6 feet or traveling with more than 2 people, the space gets tight fast. There's an optional rooftop tent to add sleeping capacity though. Priced around $11,000 to $16,500 USD base, climbing to $18,000 to $22,000 with upgrades, it's solid value if you can deal with import logistics outside Africa. The Stockman Rover 2 is one of my personal favorites. At 1,329 kilograms tear with 471 kilograms of payload, it's light enough to tow easily, but heavy enough that the independent coil suspension and 17-inch all-terrain tires actually do something useful on washboard roads. What separates it from other pods is how they've thought through the ergonomics. The kitchen isn't just functional. You get a 130-liter Bushman fridge, swift 2-burner stove with barbecue, proper pantry storage, and a rear door awning that makes cooking outside enjoyable. Inside, the 160mm queen innerspring mattress is a real mattress, not foam, and there's 150 liters of water capacity with lithium battery options up to 400 ampere hours. The nose cone alone holds 800 liters of storage, which is absurd for a teardrop. The downside is payload gets tight when you start maxing things out, and at $38,000 base, climbing to $40,000 fully loaded, it's not cheap, but the build quality backs it up. 5-year structural warranty, Red Arc Power Suite, Webasto climate control. It's all there. The Boreas XT is the ultimate evolution of the teardrop camper, a unit that makes no excuses and simply delivers. With a dry weight of 2,200 pounds, it's built to be substantial. That mass translates into robust features: a rigid composite fiberglass body, an independently articulating suspension, 19 inches of ground clearance, and 31-inch BFGK02 tires. The Cruisemaster DO35 articulating hitch and load-bearing fenders ensure it follows you confidently through terrain that would dismantle lesser trailers. Inside, it maximizes livability with a smart slide-out galley featuring a 20,000 BTU stove, an on-demand sink, and an exceptional Truma 60-liter electric fridge. The cabin includes a queen memory foam mattress, a Propex furnace, a Max Air fan, and a robust 100 amp-hour lithium battery paired with 100 watts of solar for near-endless off-grid power. It even includes an instant hot shower, a feature often missing in other teardrops. The limitations are its size and price. It sleeps exactly 2, and with a price range from $44,900 to $58,655, it commands a premium for its footprint. However, the build quality justifies the cost. This is turnkey, uncompromising off-grid capability. Now, before we get to my final 2 absolute favorite off-roaders on this list, if you're into no BS breakdowns like this, subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Not ready for that? Totally fine. Just drop a like instead, because that's what helps me know this kind of content is actually useful. The Drop X4 Hybrid is engineered around a problem most trailers ignore. How do you sleep 5 people in something that tracks behind your 4x4? The answer is the pop-up roof, which creates a full double bed upstairs while the lower level converts from living and dining space into another double bed. It's a 2-story trailer that matches your tow vehicle's footprint, which sounds impossible until you see it work. The 30mm aluminum sandwich panels with an exoskeleton frame and Iron Man shocks handle serious terrain. This is built for Trans-Africa trips. not fire roads. At around 62,500 euros base, climbing past $80,000 fully optioned, it's expensive, but you're getting 305 watts of solar, 200 amp hours lithium, a 1,200 watt inverter, full kitchen, compact wet bath, and a 360-liter front toolbox as standard. The challenge is it's Europe-focused, so parts and support in the US are limited. And while it sleeps 5 on paper, actually living with 5 people in here for weeks would test anyone's patience. But for families who want to go truly remote without compromising capability, it's one of the few options that makes sense. The Bruder EXP-6 is what happens when you stop asking, what can we fit, and start asking, what actually works. I know I've been hammering on suspension all video, but this is where it becomes the entire point. The Bruder 3L independent air suspension offers 12 to 300 millimeters of travel per wheel, adjustable from your phone, and it articulates independently, so each wheel follows terrain while the chassis stays level. You can see this thing crossing ditches and rock ledges that would high center anything else, and the composite monocoque body just absorbs it without flexing or cracking. At 3,700 to 4,300 pounds dry, it's not light, but the weight is engineered. The aerodynamic shape keeps highway fuel economy in the low 20s, and the McHitch coupling handles 90-degree angles without binding. Inside, the pop-up roof gives you 7 feet of headroom. There's a full wet bath option, diesel heat and hot water, 480 amp hours lithium with 600 watts of solar, and 200 to 400 liters of water across 3 tanks. The limitation is space. It's designed for couples, not families, and at $150,000 to $200,000, it's not for most people. But if you're serious about remote expedition travel, nothing else comes close.